Hello, 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 my loves. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. As always, I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of February 26th through March 3rd, 2024. All right. So happy to be back. I know it's been a little minute since I have been live on a Monday night. Life has been lifing, the energies have been intense, and I have just been doing my best to try to ride the wave. But as always, missed you guys. I'm so happy to be here with you and get back on track and back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, so all right. In terms of the astrology for this week, there's a lot going on, and there's a very particular reason why I call this week's episode Alliances and Opportunities, because the way that the astrology is set up, we're going to have a plethora of both of those things. So this is going to be one of those weeks where you kind of have to simultaneously be observant and also sort of takes action at the same time. So we're sort of taking stock of the opportunities that are coming our way and sort of starting to take advantage of those opportunities. But I will explain what all of that means in a little bit. But as always, housekeeping and announcements. So if you are joining me here live right now, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly, truly appreciate you. Feel free to say hi on your way in and hit that like button, please. And thank you. It helps the channel. It lets the algorithm know that not only do you like this content, but that other people like you will like it as well. Help spread the message, help spread this information to whoever needs to hear it. All right. So definitely hit that like button. And if you are joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. And I sincerely hope that you find whatever you are looking for in this broadcast. And if you would be so kind as to hit that like button and that subscribe button and that notification bell, if you haven't already, I would definitely appreciate that a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. All right. Okay. So in terms of announcements, it is the end of the month, which means one thing and one thing only, that the March, a monthly astro forecast, is going to be on Wednesday of this week at 9:30 p.m. I'll be discussing everything you need to know about March, breaking it down step by step. So definitely tune in Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Same time, same place. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? All right. So if you're someone that's interested in your horoscope and you don't know where to look, or what you're seeing online just isn't resonating, then definitely consider subscribing to my text service, where you will get your weekly horoscope texted to your phone every Monday. All right. And if you're interested, you'll want to text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. That information will be in the description box below in case you missed it. All right. And as always, if you are someone who is new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, completely lost, or maybe you're not so new to astrology, but you're realizing that it is a lot and you're overwhelmed, it's a lot to learn, it's a lot to memorize, don't worry, I've got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which essentially gives you a breakdown of the 4 major components that you need to understand in order to start studying astrology. And those 4 components are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. So this cheat sheet is an 11-page document that basically gives you a summary on all of these things so that you can begin committing them to memory. Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science, and like any science, requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. So if you are interested, the link will be in the description box below. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this week. So like I said before, I titled this week's episode Alliances and Opportunities because that's exactly what this week is going to present to us. And in preparing for this live, I was in a meditation and I was guided to pull a card. And this was the card I pulled. And this is the Ace of Pentacles. And two words came to mind, or I heard two words sort of emerge. One was opportunity, which bodes well with the energy of this week. But the other word was preparation and or preparedness. And so it's one thing to recognize opportunity. It's one thing to take advantage of opportunities. But at the end of the day, you have to be prepared for whatever these opportunities are here to give to you. Essentially, it's like you want something, right? Be prepared to receive it. Don't hope, don't wish, don't beat around the bush, don't, doubt. This is really where you have your hands open, ready to receive whatever it is that you are asking for or that you are petitioning. Now, this energy also bodes well with the full moon of Virgo that we just had on Saturday. And I apologize that I wasn't able to get a video out to you guys. But again, life has been lifing. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But a lot of the Virgo energy has a lot to do with cleanup. It has a lot to do with perfection, but it also has a lot to do with being prepared, putting a plan in place, this energy of preparedness. So there's something about this week, energetically speaking, that has a lot to do with not just wanting something, but being prepared to have it, being prepared to receive it. Right? Even when we're thinking about or reflecting on, passages in the Bible, prayer is not just wishing and hoping for something. Prayer is petitioning to God, knowing that you will get it, right? And so it's really important that this is the energy that we recognize this week and that we're sort of embodying this week. A lot of what we are working toward, a lot of the things that we want, a lot of the things that we are actively manifesting are literally on their way to us. Okay? Now, I want you to take a good look at this card, right? So it's this open hand, essentially, right? This open hand with this huge coin in it, right? Now, if your hands are closed, do you really think that you can receive anything? No, not really, right? You need to have these open hands. You need to let go of a lot of what you're holding on to. And a lot of what many of us are holding on to may be out of fear. It may be out of lack. It may be out of laziness. And this was something that Spirit really kind of emphasized to me. A lot of us, and I say us because I include myself in this too. A lot of times we want something, but we're not necessarily willing to do the work. We're not really necessarily willing to do all of the work sometimes, right? It may require certain changes, physical changes, mindset changes, getting a handle on your emotions that sometimes we just don't want to do. And it's in the work that we're not willing to do that presents an obstacle to these opportunities that are trying to find us. The things that we want, the things that we would like to have to manifest or whatever. Sometimes we stand in our own way because we're just not willing to do the work, or for whatever reason, we're holding on to things that put a wall up between us and what it is that we want. And so this message of preparedness is this cleanup, right? And I think that this past full moon in Virgo kind of showed us what needs to be cleaned up in our lives. Where do we need to declutter? One of my favorite, I don't know if it's an anecdote, I don't know what it is, but it's like, your blessings are like an airplane and it's trying to land on the tarmac, but you've got a whole bunch of stuff all over the place. There's cars, there's garbage, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's preventing this plane from landing. And we're still pretty much in the energy of this full moon in Virgo. So whether you've taken the time or not since Saturday to reflect on perhaps where there is clutter in your life. Now, this could be physical clutter. This could be mental clutter. It could be emotional clutter. But taking the time to figure out what that clutter is and how to declutter is going to put you in a place where these opportunities can find you. Not only that, it's also going to put you on the energetic frequency of receiving. So this preparedness is like an energetic preparedness. It's doing the work so that you have the room for these things to find you. And this is going to be a week that's going to be rife with opportunities. Some opportunities may be more viable than others. And for that, you'll need to use your discernment, obviously. However, you don't want this to be a time where, and it's not that, it may not be, and this is what's coming to me right now. This isn't the case where, okay, you want a new car, for example, and a new car just materializes in front of you, although it can. This may be advice on how to get your credit score up. That's an opportunity that can lead you to getting a new car. This can be perhaps seeing online that someone is selling the exact same car that you're looking for, right? It's like, we want to make this cake. We want to have this cake and enjoy it. And this may be the week where we are given all of the ingredients. But regardless of what we're given, we're ultimately going to have to do some work to make this cake, right? And so I don't know about you, but even though I'm not someone who's in the kitchen a lot, when I am in the kitchen, I love to, whenever I'm cooking, I like to start with a clean kitchen, right? It's hard for me to make something if there's clutter, if there's dirty dishes, if there's all this stuff all over the place. That's the preparedness that Spirit is talking about this week. Like, clean out the clutter. Make room for the things that you want. Holding on to the clutter is basically energetically saying, well, I don't think I can receive this. I can't receive this. I don't even want to receive it, or I don't even want to do the work necessary to receive these things. But when you declutter, and again, I feel like this past weekend's full moon in Virgo will show you where you need to do some cleanup. It's like you're letting the universe know, I'm ready. I'm ready to receive. My hands are open. So shower me with opportunities. Shower me with what it is that I want, or that I'm trying to manifest, that I'm trying to give birth to right now. All right. So cleanup is not always easy, right? Let me not say this. I don't necessarily think that cleanup is necessarily hard. It can be tedious. And depending on what kind of cleanup we're talking about, it can be arduous, right? Especially if we're talking about emotional cleanup. If we're talking about mental cleanup, it can be frustrating because, when you have that monkey mind, it can be really hard to get a handle on it, right? However, now is the time to be doing this cleanup. Now is the time to prepare yourself to receive the things that you want to receive. And again, I feel like the astrology this week is going to give you the opportunities that you are looking for. Now, the other half of the title for this week's episode is alliances. Like, I really feel like there's going to be a lot of things coming together. It doesn't necessarily have to be alliances with other people. It could be alliances of things, but there are going to be these alliances, these things merging. There's this energy of synergy this week also. So it may be in the sense that you need to synergize your masculine and your feminine energy within you. It may be that you need to link up with other people to help you. It may be synergy of ideas. Whatever it is, there's going to be this synergistic energy that's going to present itself this week. And it's really important that you recognize. And remember, I said before, it's like this week, you kind of have to be of the mindset where you are simultaneously observing and acting. Seeing what's going on and making sense of it and acting in accordance with what you're being presented with, right? So I feel like this is a very important week, especially as we make our way to Aries season, because remember, we're currently in Pisces season, and this is the wrap up, right? This is the time where we're winding things down and we're getting ready to start anew. I'm not saying that this is the week where you're just going to be like a bat out of hell, like really doing the most. But things are going to start moving this week, and it's important that you're on the right energetic frequency to move in the way that you want to. Because you don't want to look back and realize that you had all these opportunities, right? Using my analogy of a cake before, like you were given the flour, but you didn't want it because it wasn't a cake. You were given the eggs, but you're like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm not even going to pay attention to this. And then a couple of weeks or even months later, you're like, oh shit, like I was given the flour, I was given the eggs, I was given the milk, and I could have my cake right now, but I didn't take advantage of the opportunities. I didn't hold on to the things that I was given. So this is going to be a week where, again, observing and starting to take action steps. All right. So hopefully that made sense. So, all right, let's get into it and see exactly what we've got going on for this week. And of course, we start at the highlights. So first we have what I like to call fire starter, okay? And this is Mars square Jupiter, which is going down tomorrow, okay? So this is the action part of what I was just talking about. This transit really allows you to start something new in a dynamic sort of way. If I had to sum up this particular transit, it would be fortune favors the bold, okay? It gives you the courage, it gives you the energy to start something new. However, whatever you're starting right now, it may not necessarily be smooth sailing out the gate. There may be a little bit of a hiccup. There may be some frustration. There may even be some resistance. However, it's important that you use this energy to at least start. Okay, and I'll get more into that in a minute. Next, we have what I like to call good news. And this is a Mercury cazimi. The sun is going to conjunct Mercury this week. And if you've watched any of my other videos or anything like that, I've explained ad nauseum what a cazimi is. Needless to say, it is a very fortunate planetary position as it relates to the sun. So this could be good news. But because Mercury and the sun are in Pisces, this may be news that you get in a roundabout sort of way. This could be news via a dream. It could be telepathy, psychic impressions, all of that interesting kind of stuff, right? It's nonverbal communication, but in a very good way. So this is going to be a week where your intuition and your spidey senses are definitely going to be emphasized and on point, all right? One of the things that came to me when I was writing this was the phrase informed emotions. This may be a week where you start to really understand and gain clarity with respect to how you've been feeling, especially if you've been like on an emotional roller coaster. And when you have informed emotions, it allows you to move forward a lot easier. Or it makes moving forward easier, right? Because you're sort of understanding how you're feeling. There's clarity with respect to your emotions. Either way, this Mercury cazimi is a good thing. Okay. Then finally, we have what I like to call alliances and opportunities. And the reason I call it this episode and this particular highlight is because this week has a lot of conjunctions and sextiles. When we're talking about astrological aspects, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, download that Astrology Basics cheat sheet. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of conjunctions and sextiles, a lot of Pisces energy, a lot of Aries and Taurus energy. Like there's just a lot of opportunities via sextiles and a lot of alliances via conjunctions. So I will explain everything as this broadcast goes on. All right. But needless to say, there is a lot going on this week. So it may be one of those weeks where it's just like so much is going on. You feel like you can't necessarily get a grasp of anything, but I guarantee there's going to be at least one thing that's going to be crystal clear to you this week. And whatever that is, hold on to it and run with it, okay? Because again, this is an important week of alliances and opportunities. All right, so speaking of the week, let's get into the week and see exactly what it's looking like. So today, we start off the week with the moon in Libra. Then tomorrow, we have the first transit of the week, which is Mars square Jupiter. Then on Wednesday, you will see we have 3 conjunctions. We have the sun conjunct Mercury, which is that Mercury cazimi. We have the sun conjunct Saturn, which is technically a Saturn cazimi. And then we've got Mercury conjunct Saturn. Then we have the moon moving into the sign of Scorpio. Thereafter, on Thursday, we start a whole string of sextiles. So we start off with Mercury sextile Jupiter on Thursday. On Friday, we've got the sun sextile Jupiter, Venus sextile Chiron, and Venus also sextile the North Node. Then on Saturday, the moon moves into Sagittarius, and we close out the week on Sunday with Venus square to Uranus. So again, a lot going on, but just look at how many conjunctions we have. Look at how many sextiles we have. Like this is And again, if you're not familiar with astrology, you're probably like, okay, what does that mean? Like, it literally means alliances and opportunities. So without further ado, let's jump in and see exactly what this week is looking like. All right, so today on Monday, we have the moon moving into Libra, and you will see that at the bottom or the mid right hand portion of the chart. All right, so moon in Libra. So, first up, we are in between the full moon in Libra and the upcoming new moon in Pisces. So we are between the full moon and the new moon, which means that the moon is waning. So for the next 2 weeks, this is the time where we let go of what we no longer need. The full moon presumably shows you what needs to be cleaned, what needs to be decluttered, and then you spend the next 2 weeks decluttering, getting rid of what no longer serves you. Now, tonight the moon is in Libra, and whenever the moon is in Libra, we feel like socializing. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus loves to be social, and when the moon is in Libra, so do we. Now, we also tend to be a little emotionally indecisive when the moon is in Libra. Libra is all about balance, as it is represented by the scales. And so, whenever we talk about the moon, we're talking about emotions. So, you may feel a seesaw of emotions. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. So, it could be slightly emotional roller coastery. However, because Libra is an air sign, it's not necessarily the fact that you're going to be feeling emotional. It may be how you're processing your emotions that may have you feeling like you're on a seesaw. Okay. So if that's the case, I would definitely try not to overthink things or try to over process how you're feeling. A lot of times, well, not a lot of times, feelings and emotions, the purpose of them is for them to be felt rather than overthought, overdone, or overprocessed. So allow yourself to feel how you're feeling and let that be that. But again, we like to socialize when the moon is in Libra. Activities that have to do with teamwork, cooperation, all of those kind of things thrive. Activities related to beauty also, since Libra is ruled by Venus, right? Those kind of things are great when the moon is in Libra. But either way, if you find that you're really in your head right now, if you find that you're trying to really think about how you feel, or you're trying to process and you're just racking your brain with everything, just chill out and just either talk to friends, do something fun, go out with friends if you can. That's the best use of the energy when the moon is in the sign of Libra. Now, again, this moon is in the waning phase. And like I said before, when the moon is waning, this is when we get rid of what we no longer need. Because Libra is represented by the scales and has everything to do with equality, especially when it comes to relationships, whatever is not equitable to you, whatever is not fair to you, with the moon being in Libra in the waning phase, this is the time to let it go. This is the time to relinquish it. Remember, I said, perhaps we're holding on to a relationship or we're holding on to a friendship real tight because it's comfortable, we're afraid, or whatever your reasoning is, right? You can't take advantage of new opportunities if your hands are like this. So this is the time to open your hands. This is the time to relinquish. This is the time to let go of what doesn't serve you. So all of these opportunities that are presenting themselves can find you. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so tomorrow we've got the first transit of the week, which is Mars square Jupiter. So at the top portion of the chart, you will see Mars at 10 degrees of Aquarius, and you will see Jupiter at 10 degrees of Taurus, which is in the red circle on the left-hand portion of the chart. So whenever we talk about squares, we are talking about tension and frustration. It can be a situation that is frustrating, a situation that where resistance presents itself, right? Now, I said before, I call this transit the fire starter because this is definitely where you can start some shit. This is where you can definitely you'll have the energy and the drive to start something new. Now, with Mars in Aquarius, you're probably really thinking about the future, you're planning for the future, and you're ready to take action towards what you want in the future. And with Jupiter in Taurus, it's like you are ready to get out of your comfort zone, you're ready to expand, you're ready to do the most, right? And this is great energy to start something. However, moderation is going to be the key because burnout is definitely real. The downside to this transit is that it could really have you really doing the most at the outset and then getting completely burnt out, or overthinking or overestimating what it is that you're trying to do. And then in your pursuit to achieve this overestimation, you burn out, almost instantly. Okay. So it's really important that you practice moderation. It is great to be motivated. It's great to see the future. It's great to be optimistic even, right? Because Jupiter will probably have you feeling optimistic about this thing. However, take baby steps. Remember, we're still in Pisces season, and Pisces is where things wrap up. It's like use this transit to get motivated and amped about something, right? To choose a new goal, to choose a new destination. And start taking baby steps right now. Once the sun moves into Aries and the new year begins, that's when you're going to want to, fly out the gate. But now it's like, all right, figure out what you're passionate about. Figure out what sets your soul on fire right now. And then hold on to that. Hold on to that idea. Do your best to sort of not do the most and keep that fire smoldering a little bit, smoking a little bit, but not a full-fledged fire right now. This is not the time to do the most. Have that idea, keep that motivation, and keep it cooking on the back burner until the sun moves into Aries. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so on Wednesday, we've got a lot going on. So I want you to take a look at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. So Saturn, the Sun, and Mercury are all going to be conjunct. And they're all going to be conjunct at about 9 or 10 degrees of Pisces. All right, so this is the alliance that I'm talking about this week. It's all going down in the sign of Pisces with Saturn, the Sun, and Mercury. And that same day, we have the moon moving into Scorpio. Okay, so Pisces is very ethereal energy. It is our dreams, it's illusion, it's fantasy, it's movies, it's entertainment, it's escapism. And with the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury forming an alliance in the sign of Pisces, if there was ever a time to visualize your future, this is the week to do it. Okay. This is where I want you to think about everything that you want to accomplish. This is where I want you to be delusional and not just think about what you want, but feel as if you already have it. Because your mind, your consciousness is going to be focused on it. Because this is going down in the sign of Pisces, your emotions are going to be wrapped up in it, right? And then with Saturn and Pisces, it's like you are going to be able to think of practical ways, practical action steps to take in order to facilitate this delusional dream. This is why I love this so much, because Pisces energy can sometimes get a bad reputation because it is escapist, it is delusional, it's very much head in the clouds, helium balloon type energy, right? Completely up in the clouds and ungrounded. However, the presence of Saturn as part of this alliance gives you a certain amount of practicality and a certain amount of groundedness. So it's not just that you're like, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. It's like your mind is going to be like, all right, like, okay, what is it? Not only are you going to be thinking about what it feels like to be a millionaire, but your mind is going to start to think of practical steps that you can take in order to facilitate that. This isn't just head in the clouds, space cadet kind of energy. This is the real deal. I want you to understand understand that we're at a time right now where if you are willing to put in the work, not even just because Saturn is in Pisces, but because we're in an 8 universal year. It's a year of abundance, but abundance that we achieve through work. If you are willing to put in the work, there is no way you cannot have what you want. Now, not only do you have to put in the work, you got to be patient too. It's a long road and you got to have the patience, but you will have what it is that you're trying to achieve, right? And so this is the week where you're going to visualize. This is the week where you're going to really embody what it is that you want, no matter how delusional you think it is. Okay. Now, what I like even more is that at the same time, the moon is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio and Pisces are both water signs. So there's a lot of emotional energy that's going to be available to you on Wednesday. Now, what I like about Scorpio is that Scorpio likes to get to the bottom of things. And this is like you're thinking about everything that you want, and the moon in Scorpio is going to have you examining why you want what you want. And sometimes people don't pay enough attention to that because they feel like, I want this thing, I'm going to go after this thing, that's it. But when you understand the motivation and the intention behind what you want, it makes everything so much clearer, especially if it's a motivation that is pleasing to you. And it's not a motivation that makes you feel bad. For instance, let's say you want to go to medical school, right? And maybe you're in college right now. Maybe you're out of college. Maybe you're older and you're like, listen, I want to go to medical school. And to you, that could seem like a delusional dream. You got to go back to school. You got to go to med school. You got to do your residency, do all of that, right? And, you're realizing that this is a far-fetched dream for you. However, the presence of Saturn and Pisces is like, all right, we know we're putting a plan in place to see how we can achieve this dream of being a doctor, of going to medical school and eventually becoming a doctor. Well, the moon of Scorpio is like, well, why do you want to be a doctor anyway? And you're like, well, I kind of felt like a failure in my career, and, on my parents, they really wanted me to be a doctor, and I don't know how much longer they're going to live, and it would be so great to give them that gift of like being a doctor. Scorpio's like, okay, but do you really want to be a doctor, or is this somebody else's dream? And you're like, oh, okay, it's not really my dream. It's more so theirs. And Scorpio's like, well, what are you going to do with that information? Because here's the thing, when you understand the motivation, remember I said before, it's a long road. It's not like you're going to wake up tomorrow and boom, you're a doctor. How are you going to feel when you're in medical school and maybe you're not doing so well in your classes? It's your motivation, it's your intention that's going to keep you going. And if that intention is not yours, it's going to be really hard for you to stick to that when you're like, it would be so easy to give up. You'd be like, I didn't really want to be a doctor anyway. That was my parents' thing. Like, I'm not trying to waste any more time in school. I'm not trying to spend any more money. I'm not trying to take out any more loans, right? However, if it's your dream, if it's a dream you've had since childhood and now you can finally achieve it, that is the motivation that's going to keep you going. So Wednesday is a very important day. It's a day where you can really understand what it is that you want, why you want it, and understand what it takes to get it. So use the energy for that. Don't miss out on this. This is the opportunity. This is one of the opportunities that's presenting itself this week. All right. So important. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right, next up on Thursday, we've got Mercury sextile Jupiter, and it's going to begin this series of sextiles that we're going to be having between Thursday and Friday. So you will see Mercury at the top hand portion of the chart, the little purple guy at 11 degrees of Pisces, and Jupiter is going to be at 11 degrees of Taurus. All right, so let's talk about it. I love this. Whenever you put Mercury and Jupiter together, you have the opportunity to see the bigger picture and plan for the bigger picture. Remember, I said before, I started this whole broadcast by talking about having your hands open and being prepared. The preparedness is not even just decluttering, the preparedness is having a plan. All of that planetary energy in Pisces is getting you to see the dream, envision the dream. Now with Mercury sextile Jupiter, now you can make a plan. Now you can get a little more detailed, right? This is about planning for the future. This is about communication. Now, understand this about sextiles. Sextiles represent opportunity. It's not energy that's just going to fit together like a puzzle. Like, you have to put forth some effort in order to take advantage of these opportunities. And what I love about Mercury is that Mercury facilitates communication. So not only do you have this vision, now you're telling people what this vision is. You're communicating this vision to other people. Remember, I said before, this is a week of alliances. If you're telling people what your goals are, and I'm not saying that you need to divulge everything. However, if you're willing to tell people, yo, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm working on, this is what, right? You get people to help you. You form alliances in order to facilitate this larger picture. To use my example of medical school again, right? Let's say you're telling people, yeah, I know I'm like 35, but I'm going back to school because I want to be a doctor. Oh, okay. Hey, my father is a doctor. Maybe he could talk to you about the process. Maybe he could write you a recommendation letter for your application, right? This is how you're going to form alliances to get to where you need to go. Remember, Pluto is in Aquarius right now. Aquarius is about finding your tribe. Aquarius is the sign of the collective. This is finding people on your wavelength, and we all advance together. So now is the time to be vocal. And Mercury sextile Jupiter allows you to do just that. All right. Now, on a mundane level, it's great for negotiating. It's great for business. It's great for communications of all kinds because people are more likely to be receptive. People are likely to be generous. So if you're asking for things, that's also a good sign. But I feel like the best phrase that encompasses Mercury sextile Jupiter, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So let people know what you're doing. Allow people to get on your team. Allow people to help you. Form those alliances as these opportunities arise. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, so on Friday, we've got 3 different sextiles. The first one is the Sun sextile Jupiter. You will see, just look at the top portion of the chart. All of these planets are going to be there because it's a lot. All right. We've got the Sun sextile Jupiter. We've got Venus sextile Chiron, and we've got Venus sextile the North Node. So first up, Sun sextile Jupiter. Short, sweet, and to the point, you create your own luck. So the opportunities that are presenting themselves, some of them are going to be made by you. Being yourself is going to allow opportunity to find you. This is how you create your own luck. You're standing in your authentic self. You're shining like the sun, and before you know it, you start attracting opportunities. This also has sort of a faded element to it, in to a certain degree. It's like as you are yourself, you find things start to orbit into your existence, right? And these things would not have found you. These opportunities would not have found you had you not been shining in your authenticity. So again, this is a week. It's not even just the fact that you're telling people what you do or what you're working on or what you want. You're showing people who you are, and that is what helps create your opportunities. This is actually one of the more fortunate aspects or transits when it comes to astrology. So you're going to want to put a gold star on Friday, because Friday is probably, I would say between Wednesday and Friday are going to be the most opportune days of this week. So again, you're going to want to be vocal and you're going to want to be yourself. Say it with your chest. Speak from the heart. It will only benefit you. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have for this? It's a great time to, so you're going to find that things may start moving a lot easier if you're willing to make that initial effort. So if you're willing to speak, if you're willing to speak from the heart even, you'll find that you'll encounter little to no resistance with this particular transit. Like I said, it's one of the most fortunate transits in astrology. So it's really the time for you to shine as yourself. Doing that, that's how the opportunities will flow to you. It's also great for personal development and growth. So some of the opportunities that may present themselves may require you to step into a different facet of yourself. Jupiter is all about expansion and growth, and you can't grow necessarily in your comfort zone. So this is one of those situations where you may be presented with an opportunity that perhaps you don't necessarily have the skill set for yet, or a leadership opportunity where you may even feel like you're not qualified. You are. It's I don't want to say forcing, it's allowing you to expand yourself. It's allowing you to grow and develop. So if you find that these opportunities feel a little scary or requiring you to go out of your comfort zone, then they are definitely the right opportunities for you. That's how you'll know. You can't grow in your comfort zone. So whatever comes your way this week may really require you to step up and step out. And so that's definitely what you need to do. Now, the next two sextiles have to do with Venus, and they have a lot to do with self-worth. So Venus is going to be sextile to Chiron and the North Node. Both Chiron and the North Node are in Aries. And both of these sextiles have a lot to do with realizing your worth and understanding where you're going in this life. So when we talk about Chiron is known as the wounded healer. Chiron has a lot to do with our insecurities, our wounds. It's also where we can help teach people how to overcome their wounds as well by being like a shining example, right? And so Venus sextile Chiron, it may have a lot to do with relationships because Venus has a lot to do with relationships. What I love is that this particular transit, Venus sextile Chiron, may help you realize that you have a lot more allies than you realize. You have a lot more people on your team willing to support you than you realize. And maybe you don't realize it because you've been let down in the past. You've been betrayed in the past. So you may have trust issues. However, the fact that this is a sextile means that there's opportunity for people to help you. And these people may help you overcome these insecurities. These people may help you overcome these wounds, even wounds related to relationships of all kinds, not just romantic, obviously, but also wounds related to money. So for some, the opportunities that present themselves this week may be alliances. They may be people to help you overcome certain things. Perhaps you are being thrust into a leadership position, and that's a wound for you because maybe the last time you did that, you were ridiculed, you were made fun of, or you were put down. And so maybe you're insecure about that. Maybe you don't even realize that you have a mentor in your corner who can really help you establish yourself as a leader, establish yourself in that position in a way that makes you feel more comfortable and in a way that helps you overcome that fear of taking a leadership position. And this person may have been there this whole time. They may have been around. They may have been they may have been in your corner for a while, but that wound didn't allow you to see them. This is the week where you're going to start noticing who is on your team, who's always been on your team, and who's willing to help you out and who's ready to get in the game and play with you. Okay. Then we have Venus sextile the North Node. This is creating a new direction for yourself into the future. The North Node is our North Star. It's where we are headed. And so Venus sextile the North Node, essentially it provides the right people and the right resources to help you get there. So for some, the opportunities this week may not only be alliances, relationships, it may also be the resources that you need. Now, remember, going back to my cake example, the resources may not be the money. The resources may be the ideas. It may be the introduction to the person maybe who has the money, right? This is going to be the week where you get the flour, the eggs, the milk, where you can start to get your ingredients together to make that cake. All right, let's keep it moving. All right. And then on Saturday, we have the moon moving into Sagittarius, and you will see that at the upper right-hand portion of the chart. Okay. I love when the moon is in Sagittarius because point blank period, it makes us feel optimistic. We've talked about earlier in the week with all of that Pisces energy, right? And seeing the bigger picture, holding the vision. Well, when the moon is in Sagittarius, you feel good about that. You feel good about this vision. You feel like you can reach it. You want to reach it. You want to expand. You want to grow into this person. So again, this is the week where you're going to want to not only hold the vision, but you're going to want to start to take action steps toward it. You'll likely find that this is going to be a week where you feel highly motivated. You feel amped. You feel driven. Hold that energy and remember it because, like I said, it's going to be a long road. And it's not every week where you're going to be feeling good and you've got cheerleaders in your corner and you've got opportunities to make shit happen. Some weeks you're going to be down in the dumps. Some weeks you're going to be broke. Some weeks you're going to be broken. But hold that vision, not only here, but in here. Okay. And the moon in Sag is just going to have you feeling that way. And so because the moon is waning, with Sag having us focusing on the bigger picture, it's like anything that doesn't take you closer to your goal, it's time to let go. Because you're so motivated and you're optimistic about the future, why let something from the past or something that's irrelevant or something that's detrimental to you stand in the way of you reaching that goal? So declutter. Get rid of whatever doesn't serve you, right? It's like you're trying to lose weight. I know I always lose weight loss examples, but they're really easy, I think, to understand. You're trying to lose weight. It's like this is the year you're going to finally do it. This is the year that you're going to lose 100 pounds, right? I'm sorry. All those Henny and Cokes, not going to help you. I mean, if you want to have a cheat day every so often, that's one thing. But if you're a regular drinker, the first thing they tell you is that alcohol is just empty calories. So you're envisioning losing 100 pounds, being 100 pounds slimmer. You know that alcoholic drink ain't gonna help you. So it's time to put it down. It's time to let it go because you're focused on that 100-pound loss. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, and we close out the week on Sunday with Venus square Uranus. So you'll see Venus at the upper right-hand portion of the chart at 19 degrees of Aquarius. And then you will see Uranus at the left-hand portion of the chart at 19 degrees of Taurus. And this is where things get interesting. So anytime you're talking about Uranus, you're talking about surprises. You're talking about sudden changes. You're talking about chaos, perhaps, right? And so this is the day of the week where things may get a little chaotic, right? This may be where you're suddenly, how would I put this? Where it's like you're ready to make sudden moves, but maybe you can't, or you're not anticipating making sudden moves and maybe you have to. Now, Venus has everything to do with relationships and money. So money may be a thing. There may be a hiccup with money with Venus square Uranus. It may also be a hiccup in a relationship, particularly a relationship that has to do with this goal that you're trying to achieve. Okay, maybe there is a sudden change. Maybe Earlier in the week, this person said, going back to my med school example, this person said, oh, I'll write this recommendation for you. And all of a sudden you can't find them, or they're like, I can't do it right now. Understand that whatever shakeups are happening are not happening for no reason. You kind of have to let the dust settle and see where it takes you. The thing I've learned in my spiritual journey and with how God and the universe works is that you may be on a trajectory, but spirit sees something better for you and will make a quick left, even though you were going straight for so long. And you have to leave room for that. And so whatever hiccups occur are meant to, has a very faded element to it. So don't worry, don't get stuck. Don't be like, oh my gosh, we're going left, but we were going straight. Like, don't obsess over what's changing. Ride the wave and see where it takes you, because it might take you to your destination faster. It might take you to your destination on a better route. It might take you with better people. You have to be open to a little bit of chaos. All right. But also on a more mundane level, this is those kind of transits that really make you want to break out of your normal routine. And with it being a Sunday, maybe you want to do something different. This could be a situation where maybe you decide to do something really out of the ordinary, perhaps something even daring, something that really takes you out of your comfort zone. All right. But either way, just ride the wave. This particular transit won't last too long. And when the dust settles, you may find that whatever has changed, whatever suddenly shifted, whatever has been shaken up is likely in your best interest. All right. So don't freak out. Okay. All right, my love. So that is essentially the astrology for the week in a nutshell. So now, as always, we will get to some messages. All right, so you know the deal. I will be pulling cards for each sign for messages from Spirit for this week. Whatever message resonates with you is your message. It could be your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Jupiter, North Node, doesn't matter. If it is your message, it is your message. And if it's not, it's not. All right. So as always, we start off with Aries. Let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. Aries, I'm hearing false start. Some of you are like, so you know how like in a track meet, in order to start the race, they shoot the gun. It's like you started before the gun has, you started before the gun has gone off, meaning that you're really amped, you're really hyped about something, and you're jumping the gun a little bit. You may have to slow down. You may have to stop for a second and wait for better timing. Okay. I didn't even choose a card for you yet. So let's see what we have. All right. We've got the 3 of Wands. Yeah, so there's something that you're anticipating. And rather than being patient, you guys are just like, let's say you're waiting on something from someone. And the example that they're giving me right now is somewhat kind of wild. You ordered something from Amazon and you're so impatient. Rather than wait for them to deliver, it's like you go down to the Amazon warehouse and you're like, yo, let me just get this myself. Like, wild, right? Slow down. Patience is a virtue. And perhaps you doing it on your own, you trying to take control of this whole situation because of your impatience, may actually have you waiting longer than you initially would have waited if you were just patient. Meaning that if you try to do this yourself, it may take you longer. So don't jump the gun. Resist the urge to take impulsive, impatient action. Okay. So you may have to take several seats this week. I didn't say that. They said that. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for this week. Taurus, we have the Knight of Swords. Some of y'all, you have like your tongue is like a sword this week. So be mindful how you wield it. However, The positive side of this is that you can really make some stuff happen if you are vocal about it. There's this energy of vulnerability that I'm feeling also. So some of you may be guided to share your story, give your testimony, allow yourself to be vulnerable to other people, and it's really going to be beneficial to you this week. However, this is definitely a week where a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So you really need to exercise that throat chakra and be vocal about what you need, what you've experienced, how you could be of service, how others could be of service to you. This could also just be a week where you're transacting a lot, you're speaking a lot, making sales. It could be a very busy week in terms of communication. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for this week. Gemini, you've got two cards. You've got the Seven of Wands and you've got the Queen of Pentacles. Someone is being incredibly stubborn in terms of their position this week. It could be this Queen of Pentacles person. They don't have to necessarily be a Queen of Pentacles. Like they don't have to be an earth sign or a female for that matter. But someone is very stuck with their position. They're really not trying to move. They're not trying to hear anything. They're not budging. And I feel like you're trying to persuade somebody of something or get them to change their position. You may find that that is a difficult task this week. However, there's really a blessing in disguise because it's almost like you're barking up the wrong tree. You're trying to get something from this person. However, there's someone else who could be more beneficial to you. It's almost like, okay, this person isn't, okay. They're saying like, let me speak to your manager. So you're trying to get the sales representative to change your bill, to, give you a refund. And they're like, no. They're saying, no. And then suddenly you speak to the manager and the manager's able to do it. So there could be it's like you're barking up the wrong tree. The person who is budging, they're likely not the person who could really make things happen anyway. So choose your battles wisely. This person right here, this Queen of Pentacles person, they're not going to change their position. So don't try to make them. Find the person who is the mover and shaker and speak your piece to them because they're going to make things happen for you. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer for this week. All right, Cancer, we've got the Sun. So you are, number one, I hear that you are unapologetically you this week. So you guys are shining. So I feel like Friday is going to be a great day for you with the Sun sextile Jupiter. The more you are yourself, the more opportunities are going to find you this week. Very much so. There's also going to be this sense of clarity that you get this week. Something is going to become painfully obvious to you, but not painfully, like not in a bad way. It's just like, it's going to be very clear, almost like a neon sign. There could be a particular situation that has been a little murky for you over the last couple of weeks. You couldn't necessarily read the situation. You couldn't necessarily read people in the situation because things didn't seem so clear. This week, they're going to become crystal clear to you. And when you see things for what they truly are, and when you act in accordance with that, with being who you truly are, that's when things move forward. And that's when things move forward very positively for you. So be yourself and expect clarity. All right. Alternatively, there could be a Leo this week, an alliance with a Leo, a friend that's a Leo. Something could be going on with them and you this week. Okay. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo for this week. I'm not going to hold this card up too long because it's a little indecent, but right, it's a portal. But Leo, you are entering a new portal. So Leo, there is a certain cycle that is over for you. And I think you've come to the point where you've wrapped things up. You've taken stock of things and now you're ready to move on to the next level. This may be, and when I say this, I mean this week. and maybe not even this week, I will say perhaps the remainder of Pisces season, where you may be tested. It's like you are in your final year of college and you're taking your exams in order to graduate. So this testing, I don't feel like it's going to be necessarily arduous. I don't feel like it's necessarily going to be like really hard or challenging. I just feel like you're wrapping things up and you are getting the opportunity to use what you've learned in order to elevate, ascend, and move on to the next level. Okay, so I'm hearing a congratulations is in order, because for some, you're literally moving on up, whether you're moving to a better location, a better job, uh, your relationship is moving to the next level. Like, you're definitely moving up. So congratulations. Okay. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we've got for Virgo for this week. All right, Virgo, please don't be alarmed by this. This is the Hanged Man. All right. This week is going to give you the opportunity to see things from a different perspective. I think that some of you were seeing things from a very limited vantage point. It was very focused. You had blinders on when it comes to a particular situation or a particular relationship. And this is the week where the blinders completely come off. And you're like, wow, I didn't know that this situation was like this, in a good way, right? Like, I think that you had the blinders on because you were anticipating that shit was going to hit the fan. You were anticipating that things were going to go bad. And it's like, once you take off the blinders, you're like, whoa, this really isn't that bad. This is actually better. I can work with this. So I'm seeing this aha moment where it's like, oh, I get it now. I can do this. And the wheels of your mind start turning, and you're able to have more ideas. You're able to generate more ideas, to generate more communication when it comes to this thing in a positive sort of way. So you're seeing a larger part of this story, of this situation, of this relationship, and ultimately it's for the better. So get to work, because you have a lot to do now that you have this newfound vision. All right. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for this week. Libra, we've got the Emperor. All right, some of you are in war mode right now. Like, some of you are, okay, so Libra has the South Node going through it right now. And so when it comes to relationships, you may find that a lot of relationships that are unnecessary in your life or relationships that are inequitable are ending or changing. And it has you really on the defensive. Like, some of you are side-eyeing everyone in your life. Like, I don't know if I can trust you. Are you going to betray me? Like, so you're kind of ready to go to battle with a lot of people. Spirit is saying that it's good to sort of have your guard up a little bit, although that doesn't necessarily feel natural for you. But not everyone is your enemy. Not every relationship is going to. You may have gone through a period where a lot of your relationships haven't been working out. And so it has you on the defensive, thinking that, oh, none of your relationships going forward are going to work out. And Spirit is like, that's just not true. The relationships that are not surviving this time were not meant to, because they might not have been in your best interest and they might not have been equitable. However, this just shows you that you need to be just a little bit more strategic in your relationships, rather than just people pleasing and just wanting to have as many relationships as possible. Really take stock of who you are relating to. And from the outset, determine whether they are equitable or not, whether they are substantial or not, and then make that decision. But everyone is not your enemy, okay? Just make sure that you don't discount or count out people who could really be here for you. Being in this energy could have you missing relationships that are going to be very beneficial and valuable to you in the future. So take heed, okay? Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we have for Scorpio for this week. Scorpio, we've got two cards. We've got the Knight of Cups and we've got the Nine of Cups. All right, Scorpio. So I see a a lot of offers for what you want, and this could be in the way of relationships. So like you may be attracting a lot of people who are giving you what you want. You may find that all of these alliances are beginning to form, and they're really helping you get to where you need to be or where you want to be. You could have a lot of options when it comes to offers. I just see a lot of offers, whether you are giving or receiving. It's these alliances that are forming that are right up your alley. People who are really here to help you, or perhaps people who you are really here to help. People who are really in your corner, and it feels really good. So if you don't, how would I say this? Like, make sure that you talk to people this week. Don't sit at home. Don't be antisocial. Like, really put yourself out there, because this is the time where the right alliances are going to start to form for you. So be vocal, be social, let people know what you're doing. If you're looking for help, let people know that. If you're here to help, let people know that. But this is going to be a very beneficial week for you in terms of like networking and alliances. All right. Next, we have Sagittarius. Let's see what we have for Sagittarius for this week. Okay, Sagittarius, you have the Knight of Cups also. So you may be in alliance with a Scorpio, or a Scorpio may be in alliance with you. For some, this is just the opportunity to be emotionally vulnerable this week, to strengthen bonds with people by being emotionally vulnerable and allowing people to help you, allowing people to see who you really are, allowing people to know your story, to know your testimony. So this is a week where also you're not going to want to be at home, antisocial. Like, you're definitely going to want to put yourself out there and be a little vulnerable. I'm not saying fake a whole story so that people give you sympathy, but I am saying let people in a little bit this week. I think it'll take you a lot farther than if you didn't do that. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn for this week. We've got the Queen of Cups. So there is an emotional relationship that is a focus this week. I think that even if it's not an emotional relationship, I think that understanding your emotions within a relationship is going to be a thing for you this week. For some, there is this element of nurturing and mothering that you may need or that you may be giving this week. Either way, this is a week where you are kind of focused on feeling good, or at least focused on your feelings, understanding them, coming to terms with them, processing them. So this may have you feeling a little out of sorts this week, because not to say that you're completely devoid of emotion, but Capricorn isn't necessarily known to be emotional. So this week may find you out of character a little bit, but this processing of emotions and understanding is really necessary, especially when it comes to understanding the emotions behind the things that you want. I think I spoke about this when I was talking about the moon in Scorpio, which is happening this week. Understanding your motivations, why you want what you want, understanding how what you want makes you feel is going to be very beneficial to you this week. Okay. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we've got for Aquarius for this week. There we go. Aquarius, we've got the Ace of Swords. So this is a week where you are going to make up your mind about something. This is a week where you're going to be very resolute in your thinking. I see a lot of clarity. I feel a lot of clarity. It's like some of you have made a decision, and the fact that you made a decision has you feeling very relieved. It's like you're no longer straddling the fence. You're no longer weighing all the options. It's like finally, okay, this is what I'm doing. You're deciding which path to walk. You're deciding which direction to go in, and it has you feeling really good. I also see you being a little defensive about it, meaning like if someone doesn't like the decision that you made, like you're really willing to let them know perhaps why you made the decision. Maybe you're willing to defend the fact that you're making this decision. This could also be a very vocal week for you where you're definitely exercising your throat chakra and speaking a lot. But I like this for you because you're speaking from a place of determination and decisiveness. All right. So say it with your chest, pick your position and stick to it. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. So let's see what we've got for Pisces for this week. I just heard unplug. You guys also have the Queen of Cups, which is you essentially. So it's really time to unplug and retreat. This may not be, so I want to say that the opportunities that are coming your way, they're not opportunities that you're going to be searching for or doing a lot of, or taking a lot of action to find. It's like once you retreat and sort of regroup within yourself, this is when these opportunities will start to present themselves to you. It's really important that you get your emotions in check this week. Some of you, I'm feeling, have been kind of erratic over the last couple of weeks. Like your emotions have been all over the place. And Spirit is like, it's going to be hard to take advantage of these opportunities if you're on an emotional roller coaster and you don't know whether you're coming or going. So you need to do whatever you need to do this week to get your emotions in check. And if your emotions are not in check, you're not even going to be able to see these opportunities or understand that what's being presented to you even is an opportunity. So retreat and regroup this week. That is how you're going to be able to take best advantage of this energy. All right, my love. So that concludes this edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week. For information on my products and services, all of that will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you an amazing week, and I will see you next time. All right, my loves. Take care.